Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining me on 21st Century Native Leaders. My name is Peter Deswood III. I hope you enjoy this podcast episode. Please comment and share this so other people can hear the experiences of my guest today. Thank you and enjoy. Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining me on 21st Century Native Leaders. My name is Peter Deswood III, and I am here with Danielle Shay Gibbons. Danielle is from Zithnaudithi area, which is south of Bloomfield, New Mexico. She's a Native American artist and business owner of Shining Star. Danielle also runs a wellness fitness studio, hot yoga, and Zumba. The name of her business is called Asdzą Bá Hózhónii Wellness. Is that correct, Danielle?
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. So thanks for being on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So talk with me a little bit about yourself, your tribal affiliation, and your clans.
All right. So I'm Dine, and I guess I should introduce myself properly. Yad Shay Danielle Gibbons Yunisha Touching Nishlet do Mindish Isnish Bashishtin one Flenadish do Touching Dashinale. And that's as far as my Navajo goes.
Well, that's all you need. And just so you know, you actually are my sister because I'm Tuxedo as well. So
yeah, I saw that. I've actually looked at your profile and was like, oh, he's my brother.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So talk with me a little bit about how you got the idea of starting a beading business. How did you get into that profession?
Well, I spent a majority of my life powwow dancing and trying to commission people to do beadwork and sewing and regalia for the powwows was really hard. So what I did was I took it upon myself to learn, and I went out, found people to teach me, and it was hard. A lot of people didn't want to share their secrets. So I worked really hard, tried researching, figuring out how to bead on various things pertaining to not just powwow, but ceremonial items. I spent a good part of my life living in the Dakota country. So I picked up on a lot of the artwork and the beadwork from them.
Wow, that's awesome. So you just spend a lot of time studying, researching, watching, learning your craft. That's amazing. So talk with me a little bit about the piece that you made for Wes Studi. I know your sister Brandy was talking with me about that, and she had showed me a picture, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I said I could highlight her on my podcast. So talk with me. How did that happen? How did it get to that point where you started beading that piece?
Yeah, so, like they say, Indian country is really small. The networking is really small, not just in the powwow world, but the ceremony world. Also, within the arts world, not just native arts, but film, acting, entertainment, and how I got connected was I was an extra on a movie set, and of course I have the skills of seamstress, which is sewing and costume design and such. And the film set that I happened to be an extra on, they needed help with their costume department. So I got hired on the spot, made some great contacts, spent some time with some of the actors that were in the native-based film, and they actually referred me to Wes. So when I woke up one day to a text message asking me to text somebody pertaining to beadwork, I thought, okay, this is a normal day. I just got, referred out to somebody. That's awesome. So I text the phone number, and it happened to be Wes Studi. So I of course, was shocked. And he wanted to meet with me. So I drove down to Santa Fe to his home. And we just kind of brainstormed about what he wanted. And, he's a very humble guy. He wasn't bragging about what this beadwork was going to be for. He just kind of said, hey, I got something special going on and I'd like to look nice for it. Not too gaudy, not too crazy, but just classy. So that's how I got connected with him.
Oh, wow. So then did he bring the suit, the sport coat to you or the tuxedo to you, and then you started beading it? Or
yeah, so what we did was we brainstormed the designs he wanted. Of course, as you know, he is a Cherokee native, Oklahoma Cherokee, and he wanted designs that kind of brought that Cherokee, I guess, side to life. And, I kind of just let him talk and fill out like what he really wanted and what kind of look he was going for. So we brainstormed together, and he actually gave me the suit. And I don't know if you know, but I recently got into comedy with Bá and Ernie, and so I like to joke around, and I kind of was like, oh no, this suit isn't expensive, is it? No way, it's like a few $20. And he was like, no, this is so expensive, you have no idea. And I was like, okay, so I can't just throw it in the back of my car, right? And, he thought it was pretty funny that I was kind of freaked out that he was going to let me just take this suit to Farmington. And, I, of course, was asking him, are you really going to trust me with taking this to Farmington? Are you crazy? This is like expensive. And he was like, oh no, I'll come to Farmington and I'll hunt you down. And he made a emphasis like he was going to shoot me. And I was like, no. I've watched you in your movies. I don't need you coming to hunt me down. I've seen you be the bad guy. No, thank you.
You didn't want Magua coming after you?
Yes, exactly. Well, I was thinking more Street Fighter, know. So he did give me the suit, and he gave me some good time to work on it. And he wanted the most smallest beads I could possibly put on. So it was a lot of intricate work.
And how long did it take for you to complete this piece?
It actually took me about a week and a half.
Wow. Oh, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I had to draw out various styles and submit it to him and let him pick and choose. But he did pick like one style of design and color scheme with another color scheme on the border of the lapels. So it was a lot of teamwork effort between him and I.
That's amazing. So tell my audience, tell my listeners, like, where did he end up showing wearing the tuxedo, the beaded tuxedo? What event?
Okay, so from what I understand, it was the governor's ball, and it was an honorary Oscars that was given to him. And I agree 100%. It's about time. Yep. I think that's what he said in his speech. Yeah.
That's awesome. So talk with me a little bit about the business side of what you're doing. A lot of my listeners are entrepreneurs. Do you have any formal business experience? How did you talk with me about that?
I have no business experience whatsoever, as far as knowledge based off of going in, not knowing what I was doing. It's kind of like the beadwork. I had no idea what I was doing, but I researched. I tried to figure out what I need to do, how I need to run everything, and it's a learning experience, but I'm definitely getting it down. you just kind of have to have that initiative and drive to get where you want to be. And there are times where you feel so overwhelmed. It's like, oh, what did I get myself into? But the outcomes are pretty good. I mean, it's just like taking on an order from Wes Studi where I knew it was going to be in the public's eye, and I knew there were so many other people that could offer this work to him, and it came to me, so I kind of took that as a blessing. And the bow tie he was going to go with a plain looking bow tie, so I took it upon myself to go that extra mile and provide him a bow tie to match his design. And at first he was really humble and said, I don't want it, but I kind of explained, like, I really want it to stand out and not just have the lapels just be there. So you kind of have to go that extra mile and put a lot of effort into it, even when you don't want to.
That's true. So I know Brandy does a lot of like knitting, crocheting, and put stuff on. I think it's called, I can't think of the little app that she uses to sell her the stuff that she creates. But like, did your parents teach you how to do that? Did your mom show you how to do that, or was she just really crafty?
No, I know she's on Etsy, and she does really great work. As far as a lot of the stuff that we know, I feel like it was self-taught. A lot of people would put their input and advice, and you kind of pick and choose like what you want to use and how you want to display everything. So as far as the native business, I've been in the business since 2010, 11, and I've been beading since I was 15, and I'm 37 now. So it just comes with a lot of experience, a lot of networking, talking to people, trying to figure out what works best for your audience or the target audience you have.
That's awesome. You actually talked about some really good things right there, what you just said. So it definitely does sound like you have, you did a lot of research to get to where you're at. So talk with me a little bit about the yoga studio that you opened up.
Yeah, so I've been a Zumba fitness instructor for about 10 years now. Prior to that, I was an advocate for health as far as running, weightlifting, and Zumba was definitely something I did not try to look for or didn't even think I would fall into. But as you know, being a fancy shawl dancer, a power dancer, it just came naturally to me. So I was able to provide classes, and I would work at the Royal Spa, at the college, San Juan College. It just seemed like it was intention that was way far away, and I couldn't get to it. It just became one of those things where I started researching, trying to figure out how could I do this, how could I start a fitness studio, what am I going to provide to the people, to the women that come to my class. And I expanded my knowledge with yoga, and I actually was awarded a scholarship from the Native Strength Indigenous Yoga Foundation in Alabama. They paid for my flights, they paid for my training, and I got the 200-hour yoga training. And putting the two together, I kind of hoped I could start bringing that fitness and awareness, health awareness, to the people. And when I did bring it back from Alabama just this past summer, a lot of the women that would come to my classes, they loved the yoga. And I would implement native style as far as like flutes or Native American church, powwow in the background to kind of help us stay in a focused state while we're doing the hot yoga.
Wow, that's amazing. Definitely sounds like you do a lot of research and get necessary skills that you need to open these businesses. So where's your business located in Farmington?
Right now, I have a studio that is located directly across from Sonic on 20th in Farmington. Kind of kitty corner to Define Fitness, and it's a little studio, but right now we're just starting, and I'm hoping to turn it into a nonprofit organization to bring a lot of women in that are new single mothers. They don't know where to find resources. A lot of them are struggling with domestic violence at home, abuse in all forms, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and a lot of women come in with no awareness to health, not just emotional health or mental health, but even physical health, how, the diet and fitness could help balance out all aspects for them.
Wow, that's awesome. So is the yoga business pretty competitive?
I feel like the Zumba business is more competitive than the yoga, and there are various styles of yoga. So the style that I brought home to the Four Corners, it's not common. So it's not too much of a competitive field, but a lot of the instructors are very supportive. I'm friends with a lot of the business yoga business owners in Farmington, and they've offered some help, some wisdom as to how to manipulate the temperature to get it hot in the classrooms, to get the humidity up there. How do I, go out in the community and make an impact, a positive impact for not just Native Americans, but, all people, all women and men as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So talk with me a little bit about how you weave your culture into your business.
Well, like I said, I had spent quite a bit of time up in the Dakotas, and I lived amongst the Dakota and Lakota people, and I had picked up a lot of their teachings and understandings with their spirituality. I have 2 children. They're both Lakota, Dakota, and a lot of it was to honor that part of them and carry that with us in our home, in our fireplace. So when they got old enough, they wanted to come home. They wanted to learn more about their Dine culture. So coming home, it was a culture shock because a lot of teachings I had learned and implemented into my home was very different from the Dine. So I'm still feel like I'm a little kid stumbling, trying to learn my Dine culture. But I feel like with the studio, my name, I kind of left it up to, I'm pretty sure Desmond Tipiconi. And he's a student, and he's very faithful to Zumba. But when I came up with the idea to start this organization or this wellness center, he listened and he heard the passion I had towards helping women, and he always said, when I leave your class, I leave feeling good, and you give good energy out to people. So, he's the person that came up with my business name, and he's the person that teaches me a lot of things that I didn't know growing up as far as pertaining to the Dine way of life. So I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to implement it in, but I feel like with the yoga, it's a lot of similarities. There's a book I had read called We Are All Related, and in a sense, we are kind of connected in different ways of understanding things spiritually and mentally. So I kind of just try to put that into my yoga and talk to the women and give them that encouragement spiritually.
Wow, that's really powerful. I like the way you interconnected those cultures and those beliefs, and I think that's the power of coming from a culture that you've seen and being a part of. So, looking towards the future, like what's one piece of advice you have for future entrepreneurs?
I think if the passion is there, that's first and foremost where you should come from, because when you are going on the journey of trying to open a business or trying to use a skill or talent you have, like my beadwork I used to make money, to bring food to the table, you get exhausted. You go through bumps and barriers and hardships that kind of make you want to quit, to stop, to take a step back. And it's okay to take a step back, but that passion is what's going to get you continuing forward into whatever you're trying to pursue with your business.
Nice, I like that. I think that's important, is passion. So, is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, I know Chizba and Ernie are going to be doing a show in Gallup, so I'd like to bring some awareness to them. And, even being on stage with Ernie, that was a very, very fun experience. And, I know Ernie's all about the empowerment and inspiring the youth nowadays because, as you hear him say, he's been sober. I myself am an advocate for a drug, alcohol-free lifestyle. And to be able to hear him in the behind the scenes talk about how he struggled with himself on stage with stage fright and accidentally linking up with James to where now they're James and Ernie, it was an amazing story and it was empowering. So, I think just whatever is meant to be will come, and you just have to have patience with that and go forward with a good heart and a good mind.
Nice, that's awesome. I like that message. It's empowering, like you said. So, do you want to do a plug for your business?
A plug?
Businesses?
A plug. Is that like a KNDN advertisement?
Or just be like, hey, this is Danielle. Or for me, I say, this is Peter. Check out my podcast. Something like that.
I don't even know how to do that.
How can people connect with you?
Right now, I just have my Facebook page, my Facebook business page, and my personal Facebook page and Instagram.
That's awesome. And your handles are the same, just your first and last name?
My first and last name and the name of the business.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, if you're on Instagram or Facebook, check out Danielle Shay Gibbons. Also, her business is called Shining Star. And so, does your yoga shop have its own Facebook name as well?
Yes.
So check her out. Asdzą Bá Hózhónii Wellness here in Farmington on 20th Street across from Sonic, catty corner to Define Fitness. So kind of something like that, I guess. But yeah, so everyone, so check her out. She does amazing work. If you check out Wes Studi, he's been on social media lately. So Danielle's the one that beaded that Awesome Tuxedo. Hopefully one of these days I can have you feed me, some baskets on my blazer or something. So,
Yeah.
other than that, we're all set, Danielle. But I appreciate
Okay.
you talking with me and sharing your story and your experience with my listeners. My podcast is listened to in, I think it's at 340 something countries around the world, and I'm also on YouTube and Spotify, all the different platforms for listening to podcasts, so that people can download content and listen to them while they drive. And I think one of the things is why I started this podcast was to highlight stories like yours, and to get a message out there, like the message that you just talked about empowering women and providing a safe space for women that have been abused or have gone through trauma, things of that nature. So, but I appreciate you being on the podcast episode, and I'll let you know when the podcast will be available. Probably available tomorrow, sometimes during the day or evening. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you and talk with you, and keep grinding out there.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks. Have a good night. Hello, listeners. I hope you enjoyed this episode, listening to the challenges and the tribulations of the guests that I had today. Please follow me on 21st Century Native Leaders. Go to my page, give my page a like for future episodes, and also for quotes from books that I read, articles that I read, and the pictures are from Indian country, but in particular the Navajo Nation. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully you come back and hear another future episode. Have a good day.